Just for the starters, I don't think that the definition of inequality is strictly needed, right? But it basically means that the income, right, the wealth is unequally distributed among the participants in the economy, right? So that the idea is that there is a certain, there is a pot of income, pot of wealth for a certain country, and then the, let's say, top 20%, top 10%, top 1%, top 0.0001% get a disproportionately large part of that pot. On a macro level, in any conversation about inequality, in almost any essay, any paper, what you start with, or the way people start thinking about inequality or talking about inequality, is through the lens of these two practically opposite views, right? One is right-wing, one is left-wing. And I'm just going to outline them here on my whiteboard that I prepared in advance. So, left, right. So, firstly, let's start with the right-wing model, right? The right-wing school of thought. And it's basically the one that goes around the Milton Friedman ideas and the ideas of the free market, and the fact that basically the market is going to work itself out, right? Don't intervene. Don't touch the market. It's supply and demand. It's the, the tried and true economics principles. And that principle, that idea of a free market, is also going to sort out inequality if you give it time. In the long run, market forces, productivity growth, and individual initiative are sole determinants of distribution of income and standard of living, in particular for the least well-off members of society. Hence, government efforts to redistribute wealth should be limited and should rely on instruments that interfere as little as possible with the virtuous mechanisms of the market. There should be little intervention. Now, if we talk about the left-wing position, this really came from the 19th century socialist theories, and it actually says that the only way to alleviate poverty and inequality is through heavy, intense governmental distribution. So, only way. Governmental redistribution. So some of the examples of such governmental redistribution can be, set wage, minimum wage, nationalization of production, and so on. Okay, so now we've covered two different ways, two different schools of thought when it comes to talking about income inequality, right? Right wing, free market, and left wing, government intervention is needed.